I think a lot of us in agriculture got really used to the idea that we are irreplaceable. And I think we are now seeing that that is not true. We could have thought about it and realized it wasn't true, but now the world is forcibly showing us it's not true. China can get all the soybeans it needs from Brazil. And, if you weren't growing food for the American market, then what do Americans need to bail you out for?
I did not understand a lot about farmers. I really didn't. I lived in Jersey. I was a city kid. I never been to a farm. I never truly understand it. Till the older I got, I've recognized, okay, how important the farmers are to the American people. Extremely important. And now, fast forward to 2024 with the elections. Even before this, things were going on as well with Trump. I hear a lot of farmers really, really upset with Trump, feeling like they've been lied to. And I am not going to lie. I figured, you know what? A lot of people feel like they were lied to under the Trump administration. So many people voted for Trump due to the economy. So many people voted for Trump due to businesses thriving. There's a whole bunch of reasons. But there's one thing for sure. People right now are still struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, and they're not getting what they expected from the economy. But also, the farmers, and these guys are very, very loud, and they are speaking up, and they are not really happy with what's going on with Trump. So I want to do some research, and I found a video I'm going to react to that was perfect. It explained it perfectly, and I definitely want to add my insight to it. And if you're any farmers that's out there, definitely watch this video and drop a comment down below and let me know how you're doing during these times. Let's watch this video.
Hi, I am a farmer, and something we may have been hearing a lot from farmers is we're having a big emergency financially because of the tariffs and the trade war. And something I keep hearing is we were lied to. We didn't think Trump would do this. So as someone who is a farmer and was a farmer during the Trump 2024 election cycle, in fact, I was running for office as Commissioner of Agriculture in my home state of North Carolina. Let me tell you what the conversation in agriculture was actually like. I can't recall anybody who actually thought Trump wasn't going to start a trade war. What do you mean we were lied to? Everyone knew this was going to happen. Because for one thing, he was running on starting a trade war with China again. And for another, he already did it once. Everybody knew this was going to happen. Everybody in agriculture knew this was going to happen. And as someone who's a farmer and not necessarily aligned politically with most farmers, I found that kind of confusing, just like most people do.
Yeah, I found it very confusing as well. When I started doing research and I recognized, why are farmers voting for a guy that actually is going to go into tariff wars that's going to impact them tremendously? I mean, tremendously. And not just impact them as well, impact us, the people. And I am not sure why they did it. I really didn't. Now, I understand people vote for certain politicians or certain parties, not only on just one issue, but let's not lie. When it comes to businesses and it comes to money, you always want to protect your business and protect your money, and you want to vote for someone that's going to protect you. And if you knew exports were going to happen, then why in the world will people do this? Right? Why? You already know what's going to happen. That's what's going on right now with all the soybeans, that China is like, oh, well, then we'll go somewhere else. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? As a business person, you have to have the foresight of, okay, worst case scenario, what would happen? And let's be honest, tariffs is not worst case scenario. You knew it was going to happen. So if anybody, a smart businessman, would have projected what is the outcome, then why would you vote for him? Right? Why would you? And I don't want to make it just about Trump, because I don't like to talk about politics. I'm talking, why would you vote for anyone who would just go against your best interests? To me, it makes no sense.
Oh, I should mention, in 2024, I was running as a Democrat, right? So I was talking with farmers, and I was talking about politics with people. Everybody knew Trump was going to start a trade war because he ran on that. He campaigned on that, and he already did it once. Everybody knew he was going to do this. Now, like most people, I thought, this is insane. How are farmers whose job depends on exports going to support a guy who is promising to destroy their business? I got an opportunity to sit down with the farm lobbyist, and credit to him, he did actually sit down with me because I was running as a Democrat. A lot of farm spokespeople just wouldn't. And I asked him point blank, I said, hey, we all know this is going to happen. We all know this is his plan to start a trade war that is going to hurt your businesses just like it did last time. We all know this, right? And he said, yep, yeah, we know. And I said, then explain to me why we're supporting this guy. Make it make sense to me. I said, explain it to me like I'm five, because I am a Democrat, so you'll have no trouble speaking to me like I'm five. So let's start with that. And he said, listen, we understand there's some risks with being part of the Trump coalition. We understand there's some risks to us, but we also understand that there are going to be some benefits. And he wouldn't elaborate beyond that.
What is the benefit? Right? I'm sure a lot of people would say, because I did a little research on this and I found out where a lot of the farmers are really upset with this, which is they try to pass the Inflation Reduction Act and they were promised, hey, due to all the tariffs and whatnot, we're going to take care of you. Well, what's coming out now with a lot of farmers, what they're starting to say is they're not receiving anything. So some farmers continue their life knowing, hey, they're dealing with the tariffs and inflation, and they kept on buying, because the materials they have are not expensive. Those trucks are not expensive. And now they reneged. They are not receiving anything for the purchases they're making. No help, nothing at all. And that seems to have sparked an outrage now, which is why I'm starting to notice, and maybe you are as well, a lot of the farmers are starting to become vocal. Because out of everyone right now that's going through the tariffs or whatnot, they're getting hit the hardest. I mean, extremely hardest. They're the ones that's going to receive the hugest impact because that's all they rely on. They 100% rely on exports. And if right now you're dealing with tariffs the way we're dealing with it, and let's be very, very honest. When it comes to politics and when it comes to, unfortunately, Trump as well, he doesn't stick to just one thing and find a solution. He just jumps from issue to issue to issue. And then things like, hey, the tariff war, it seems like a back burner. And now he's worrying about ICE agents. He's worrying about the whole Gaza situation. He's worrying about everything else. He's picking fights with other people. It's like he doesn't stick to one issue, which has to be frustrating for someone that is going through what they're going through. You're thinking, and a lot of us thought that, hey, tariffs are going to happen, but they're negotiating. Things are going to get better. They've been negotiating for quite some time, and nothing really came from it. The tariffs are still here, still tariff wars, and nothing came from it, right? People are still feeling the impact of this, and it's scary because now it seems to be not a big issue, right? Especially like in the retail sectors and other sectors, it's not that big of an issue now because a lot of these establishments, these companies, they're not increasing the prices yet of the products. They're holding on for dear life to not introduce the price increases to the consumer. A lot of stuff we're dealing with now is with inflation, but tariffs are holding on to it. But they can't hold on to it for that long. And especially these farmers feel it instantly. As soon as tariffs are announced, China's like, deuces, somewhere else. That's just logic. That's just the way business works. And I don't know how long they can withstand this and withhold this because it's getting really ridiculous.
But let's unpack this just a minute. What kind of benefits could that have meant, right? What kind of benefits could people have been looking forward to that might have made up for the fact that we're about to start a trade war and everybody knew it? Well, first off, last time Trump did this, he just gave farmers a lot of free money. So I'm sure people assume that would happen again. And we'll get back to that in a second because it's Thursday, the 11th of September. That hasn't happened yet. Let's talk about what else Trump has done for farmers. He did make it easier to do slavery on farms and get away with it. And I don't even mean 13th Amendment, which is already technically legal. I mean, he made it easier to bring in H-2A workers and treat them like trash, okay? He made it easier to do that. There were some reforms to the H-2A system in 2024 because we found that a lot of people were abusing it and enslaving workers, keeping them trapped in this country, keeping them from leaving, threatening their families to force them to work harder and not paying them enough.
Now, let's get down to the real talk of this conversation because right now, as far as the nation, what we're dealing with now with ICE, with immigration. You know what we're dealing with. And right now, there's raids going on everywhere. So, of course, and me being who I am first-generation immigrant, Cuba, and I understand how important immigrants are. A lot of people do as well, but a lot of people feel like a lot of people just come into this country illegally, just causing trouble with crime and people have their beliefs, okay? But let's stick to the core here, which is a lot of the illegal immigrants that come to this country do work in farms. So a lot of the farmers, they take advantage of that. It's not only the farmers as well. It's other companies, construction and whatnot. They take advantage of that. People doing roofs, they take advantage of that. They know exactly what they're doing. And that is the backbone of our society because the majority of our society does not want to do that. So we understand, like a wink, wink, and stay quiet about it, that they come work in the farms and that's okay. As long as production's being made, everyone seems to be happy. But now with all these raids, these farmers have to be feeling it because now, well, a lot of legal immigrants are either being sent back or they're being afraid to go to these sites because they know probably that's where ICE agents are waiting for them to show up. So that's impacting them in every single way. It's not just with tariffs, it's now to dealing with these raids and whatnot that's making it hard for people to want to go to those sites, right? To go work. Now they're petrified and they don't want to go. Now, the things that she's saying, I don't know much about, right? I mean, but I just definitely do know that there is some type of a system to allow illegal immigrants to go and work. And what scares me the most, and what she mentioned, and I could imagine is happening, which is unfortunate, is them being taken advantage of. Because if you come to this country strictly for money, and you know you try and bring money back to your country because your family's poor, whatever the case may be, you could hang that over them and make them work ridiculous hours and just not have to follow the same laws that we do when we work in corporate America or whatnot. Like, we have laws. We have laws to protect us. They most likely don't have those laws. And to be honest with you, some of them want to come and just work. They probably hate the freaking laws. They want to just work, work, work. But they're being taken advantage of as well by farmers. So they basically getting away with a lot of very, very, very cheap labor. And now that labor is gone, or almost 100% gone, or like a huge chunk of it is gone, now they're starting to feel it.
If that's not slavery, what is? So he did that. Trump did that for farmers. He made it easier to keep people in bondage. So that's a benefit. There was, of course, the big, beautiful bill that had lots and lots of tax breaks, which farmers are really interested in because folks don't realize this, but farmers are actually quite wealthy. The majority of small family farmers at this point in U.S. history are millionaires. Most small family farmers are millionaires. So this is a group of people, farmers, who are very, very interested in tax breaks because they have a lot of estate and a lot of property to think about tax-wise. This is something that kind of drives me nuts. As someone who came up in agriculture as a farm worker, working for farmers, people keep saying, but farmers are working class. They're voting against their working class interests. When will they wake up? Never, because they're not working class. We've had the numbers on this for decades. The USDA's had data on this for years on the internet where you could just look it up. No one's ever bothered to look. We just assumed farmers were working class because, I don't know, big trucks, because those are cheap. Yeah, I don't know why people think farmers are working class. Land and tractors and trucks ain't cheap. It's not that complicated.
I am one of them. I would admit, I did not know. I never thought of it that way. That they pretty much are wealthy. Now I understand the property, right? Having the land, the property makes you wealthy. But once again, I'm a city kid. I would admit it. You can laugh at me all you want, call me stupid all you want. But I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, which is when you hear someone being a farmer, you just associate them with the ones working. You don't think about the person that's owning the farm. So you automatically would assume, oh, the U.S. farmer is the guy who's out there doing all the labor themselves. That's what you automatically assume. But yeah, she's right. It's not the case. You start thinking about it like, no, well, it's the land, and some of them have a business, and the assets, the animals, and selling the fruits, or they're selling the vegetables, or whatever the hell they're selling. Makes sense. So now you will see why they were side with Trump. That does make sense to me, why they were side with him now, because they're getting all these breaks and they're getting this quote unquote free money. Now I heard that being said so much, right? That they getting free money. But man, you cannot, it just makes you laugh because you cannot vote for someone just because you're getting free money or these tax cuts without it being 100% guaranteed. But it's just also funny because it's like, no money for this education and no money, I'm holding money for this school due to they're not liking the policies and politics. Like the same thing can happen to you. So having a business depending on just free money and being bailed out, it's not sustainable.
We had a century where, yeah, the smallest, poorest family farmers are getting pushed out. Well, what happens after a century of that? Who's left? It's not poor people, is it? So anyway, that's another big benefit that farmers got from Trump is big tax breaks. That big, beautiful bill also had, was it 52 billion in additional free money for farmers? But of course, that's not enough. They're expecting other bailouts to come after that. And that has not been available so far. So everybody's starting to sweat just a little bit.
That has been frozen. I've done research on that as part of the Inflation Reduction Act that they're all waiting on because they were promised it and they're legally supposed to get it and they have not received it. That just sucks, man. And I know so many people out there who don't like Trump and be like, that's what they get. Listen, I don't feel that way, right? I feel like you vote for someone because you thought they'll benefit you. And unfortunately, you put all your trust into him, which I'm someone from Jersey and I'm a New Yorker and I knew Trump from the 80s and knew about him a little bit, the 90s and knew about him a little bit. He was not the type of person that's trustworthy when it comes to stuff like that. Just look at the businesses that he's done. He reneges a lot. And if you say something he doesn't like, he will punish you in the best way he knows how, which is either suing you, but now as a president, just pretty much not giving you funds. So He's picking fights with all these cultural wars that he's doing, and he's neglecting the people who are suffering the most, which is the farmers. And it's a really unfortunate situation. I know they voted for him. I know. So it's kind of like you get what you deserve, but no. I mean, it doesn't really just affect them. It affects everybody. It affects all of us. And it sucks that they are in the position that they're in now, and they have no recourse, right? It's a real big problem. And how bad can this get? What if China decides, you know what, we like getting our soybeans from Brazil and they never want to come back to the United States? You know how many businesses will be gone and devastated and just gone? And think about it, guys. Like, Trump is going to be here for 3 more years, right? When he's gone, he's gone. Some farmers made a decision based upon now, but they weren't thinking long term, like the consequences that could come from this. I'm telling you, I don't know. You guys drop a comment down below, but are farmers really like good businessmen? Like, you would think anyone would know that. Like, the outcome cannot be good. If someone gets to try another product from another company and it's cheaper and they liking it, then why go back to you? Even if it's slightly more expensive, they might be more efficient, might get there faster. There might be other benefits that now people are like, okay, I'm willing to pay a little bit more because I know what I'm getting. And in America, it's so unpredictable with Trump, with the tariffs. Then what? Farmers, man, they're really in trouble.
Shoot, what else was there? Oh yeah, environmental regulations. Yeah, environmental regulations was another thing they didn't like very much, and looks like those are not happening so much anymore either. So when people tell you, as farmers, we were lied to, that is absolutely not the case. We all knew what was coming. I thought we all knew this was the bargain we were driving. So when people come up and say now, oh, we were lied to, by what, your own eyes? You didn't notice last time you did this? What do you mean you were lied to? To genuinely think you were lied to, I think at this point you had to have wanted to be lied to. And that's not being lied to anymore. That's participating in a little group LARP activity. This we were lied to thing is just real interesting to watch, because if you were there, no, we were not lied to. We all knew this was going to happen, and people just assumed that free money would be there.
Well, you know what? They're not 100% wrong. They were lied to. They were told, hey, hang in there. We're doing the tariffs. In the end, it's going to work out. But this is what we're going to do for you. We're going to free up some money, give you some tax cuts, whatnot, some free money to keep it going. Don't worry about it. You're good. Obviously, they knew there was a risk in place. The risk was the tariffs. What they didn't know was they were not going to receive those funds. They still might receive it, still, but when they were promised it, they have not received it. So I don't want to think that, they're naive and they didn't know at all. They were lied to in that way. They actually were told one thing and then something else happened. So really, it's not that they were lied to, they were just screwed.
Let's wrap up this free money conversation. In Trump's first term, he started trade wars that destroyed a lot of farmer sales, but he made it up to them by giving out free money. And I think people just assumed that would happen the second time around. Last time he was president, he still needed to get elected again. This time, it's his second term. So either we follow the Constitution and he can't run for president again, or we just throw all of that away. And then he doesn't really need votes so much anymore because we're not really doing the Constitution anyway. So yeah, he courted farmers in 2024 because he needed them. And now that he's in power, he doesn't need farmers anymore. He doesn't need us anymore. It's as simple as that. This is a guy who got kind of famous for stiffing his contractors. He doesn't need us anymore. And here in agriculture, I thought we all knew that story about free milk and a cow. And he's got the milk. You don't need to buy the cow. If you don't look out, sometimes you get milked.
He played so many people, and just from watching this video and from learning so much from it, and from the research that I did, he really, really screwed these guys really well. Listen, it's not just a Trump thing, it's a politician thing. Politicians usually try to make a whole bunch of promises, and they don't keep them. They just don't. Think about how many times these guys go on the campaign trail. They go to every state and they say, if I'm the president, I'll do. If I'm the president, I'll do. They can't do all those things. They just cannot do all those things. And if you vote for a president just for one thing, and you think it's just going to benefit you, you don't care about anything else. You don't care about anyone else. You're sadly mistaken, man, because if you don't get that one thing, now you're stuck with all the bad stuff that come along with it. And that's what's happening right now with the farmers. They really trusted Trump. They really thought he was going to give them the bailout and they'd be good on his money. But no, he is not someone to be trusted. He definitely can't be trusted. But a lot of politicians as well, they can't be trusted. I stopped trusting politicians a long time ago. It's a saying that I say, right? In my house, I'm the president. This is my White House. I'm the president here. The decisions that I make in this house is basically for my family, and I have to make the right decisions to protect my family. The president is just a cheerleader. That's all this is. It's a cheerleader, and it's causing a whole bunch of culture wars. Like, that's what Trump is known for. Let's be very honest. The number one thing Trump does is cultural wars, right? Bad Bunny does a Super Bowl. He said something about that, right? A mayor of a town, just a mayor of a town, he declares war on that mayor, just attacks that mayor. He's all over his Truth Social, whatever, just attacking people. He doesn't have the capacity to focus on one thing, fix it, and move on to the next. Because even 4 years in the presidency, you cannot do everything you want to do. 2 terms, you usually get most of the stuff, but you can't get all the stuff. And with the way he's jumping around and picking fights and going here, there, of course, the farmers, they're put on the back burner. Because I've seen so many videos I said earlier where they're stressing out and they're voicing their opinions, but Trump hasn't mentioned anything about them. So right now, they're just left hung out to dry.
As far as being rescued from this, my opinion is, I grew up in a pretty conservative household, and, I don't hold with everything I was raised with, but we talked a lot about letting people have the dignity of their choice. People are grown-ups. They should understand the choices that they're making with all the information available to us. And especially grown adults with a good amount of wealth, you'd assume that with that comes some insight into how to build your business. And if it doesn't, is that the taxpayer's problem to solve? Or is it an opportunity for new people with skills and maybe some more insight to get involved? I think that's a question we should be asking.
Very good point. That's right now what Brazil's dealing with. Brazil is just they're just raking in the dough right now. While unfortunately the farmers are struggling. So guys, first of all, this is really interesting. I didn't know a lot about farmers, and now I learned so much about them. But come on, man, right? I don't want to make this political, but we have to wake up and recognize that these politicians just lie. They just do. They're just good cheerleaders for you to become a better person and to feel like, you know what, things are going to get better. Because if someone keeps on telling you things are going to get better, then you say, you know what, it is. You go to work, you're more excited, you just feel good knowing that things are going to get better. But that's not the case what's going on right now. People just put in way too much, like they're giving Trump like way too much control over their lives. Way too much control over their lives. It's like, it's just people just love to just feel like I won, you lost. And that's it, right? Like, I won, you lost. Ha, 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 ha. And it's like, yeah, come on, guys. Let's stop. We're grown-ups here. There's more complicated things that's happening in this world that we need to either agree with to try to fix. We can't just be like, this person is an enemy, this person loser, you winner. No, we got to work together to make things work. Like, we need to get together and help these farmers out and make sure that their issues are being addressed because it impacts all of us. There's a lot of things right now going on in this country that impacts all of us, but we're all turning a blind eye because we're not supposed to like each other. And it's sad because there's more, the farmers, what they're going through, I'm sure so many other people are going through right now, but they just can't admit it. You see, the farmers are dealing with losing millions and millions and millions of dollars, so they're going to speak loud. But there's so many families out there that are losing, maybe not millions, but maybe a couple hundred, a couple thousand, and their voices are not as loud, or they don't want to admit that what they did was a bad decision. But this right now, to me, is going to get worse. So many people are going to start speaking up, expressing their feelings, which people are doing now, because let's be very honest, people's paychecks have not gone up, but the price of goods and gas, price of homes have risen. That can only go on for such a long time until people say, okay, enough is enough. We need to, speak about this issue, address this issue, no more playing games. But right now, there's a lot of games being played and a lot of people are losing.